Joining me here in the studio are UKIP's local government spokesman, Councillor Peter Reeve, and from the Green Party, Councillor Andrew Cooper. Welcome to both of you. Can I start with you, Peter Reeve, before we get into the details of the survey, just touching on the latest UKIP suspension. As you will know, Janice Atkinson and her Chief of Staff, Christine Hewitt, no longer represent UKIP, according to a statement, although we should point out, as we said, they do have 14 days to appeal. It must be a bit of a nightmare on the doorstep with this happening.
No, actually, I think people are recognising that when UKIP spots a problem, we deal with it straight away, unlike the old parties who let these things linger on, try and squeeze their way out of it. We saw a problem, we dealt with it, it's done, and we've moved on. Why
such poor discipline, though, amongst candidates? Because, I mean, I did list these yesterday, but since 2010, almost 40 of your activists have been suspended. You know, I can make the list of councillors, candidates, MEPs, National Secretary. Not a very good sort of tally, is it?
Well, actually, I think that's a great tally. If we spot a problem, we deal with it, we get rid of them. The other parties let them linger
Why
on.
have they got there in the first place? If it's such a high tally of people that have to be then suspended.
It's not a unique thing to UKIP. Every barrel has a rotten apple. We've got our own, every other party's got them as well. The big difference is we refuse to cover it up. We refuse to tolerate it at all. Decency in public life is what UKIP's all about. And we have every expectation that everybody representing UKIP in this country will fulfil their obligation to the people to behave absolutely appropriately and to represent those people perfectly.
Right, and in that sense you are like the other parties, though, aren't you? You do have the same sort of rotten apples that they all have.
Every party
and you've
does.
always,
but we have high standards.
Yes, but UKIP has always set itself apart from the other parties. But you are just like them in that sense.
Well, we're a party that brings ordinary people into politics in exactly the way Brian May was just saying earlier. I've got so much respect for the campaign that he's running. It's exactly what UKIP's trying to do, and I think also what the Greens are trying to do.
All right,
and we are very proud of our record and our reputation. People on the streets are voting for UKIP.
Right, well, let's just take a look at the survey, because UKIP, and certainly Nigel Farage has been on this programme endlessly saying that actually you're appealing to both the left and the right. You're challenging Labour and the Conservatives. But in reality, the survey does really just point to the fact that you are a group of disaffected Tory voters.
Well, number one, I'd like to challenge why the BBC have done this survey in the first place. I think the taxpayer and the licence fee payer would actually wonder if their money is being well spent on surveys like this.
Well, partly because, as you say, you want to be treated like the other parties. We do these things for all the parties, and people do want to know what people think.
Secondly, what it reflects, actually, is UKIP's huge surging growth in just a few years. And the elections, it's interesting that you only contacted councillors. The elections that we've just been through within those growth years for UKIP have been largely in Tory areas. Shires, the county council elections, all of those. So it reflects that actually those people who've been elected have been in elections in traditionally conservative areas that are now moving to UKIP.
Let's talk to Andrew Cooper. I mean, is the Green Party completely ruling out any form of agreement with the Conservatives, even if they win the most number of seats?
Oh, absolutely. There's no way we would prop up a Conservative government.
Right.
We're very clear about that.
And what about then, if you're so keen to support Ed Miliband, are you... well, or aren't you?
Well, of course, it's a bit of a Hobson's choice, isn't it? But Labour, if they were the largest party, and that was the option, then that would be a possibility.
Right, but if you share some of the goals that the Labour Party is eschewing, why not actually just campaign for the Labour Party in constituencies where you haven't got a chance?
Well, we don't share a lot of values of the Labour Party.
But you're going to split the vote on the left, aren't you? Effectively.
We're actually going to fight for every vote for the Green Party. We've got a very distinctive message, and we've got a good story to tell. We've got some good values, and we want to win every vote.
Right. Well, let's talk about some of the policies on Trident, for example. I mean, how do you explain to people that we're going to be safe without a continuous at-sea deterrent?
Well, there are lots of countries right the way throughout Europe which don't require a nuclear deterrent. They manage quite well. It's a cold.
Which ones are you thinking about?
It's a Cold War relic. There's lots of Scandinavian.
It's a Cold War relic, one that is coming back to haunt us, it seems, with the spectre of Russia.
It's £100 billion. Do you really believe that a Trident missile is going to be of any value in the defence of this country?
Right. Well, how else do you think you're going to put off someone like Vladimir Putin?
I don't believe that a Trident missile is going to make any difference whatsoever in that. It's going to cost £100 billion.
Yes, just think what you could do with £100 billion if you did actually get rid of Trident.
It is a lot of money, but actually the bigger issue in defence is what the Greens would do to decimate our army, which is even worse than the terrible things the Conservatives and Labour are proposing. UKIP's the only party standing up for veterans, standing up for our armed forces. We're very proud of that record, and we're very proud of the policies that we've got defending the military.
What do you say to that, Andrew Cooper?
Well, as far as we're concerned, the role of the army should be about peacekeeping. It should be about providing humanitarian aid. These are the sort of things which will give our country more security, not less. The way we've been using our armed forces in countries like Iraq and Afghanistan have actually perversely made us more insecure. We need to be using our armed forces intelligently.
All right, leave it there. Thank you.